We're talking about the closing. Let's head across to Neeraj Shah to find out how exactly today's closing is panning out. And Neeraj, not bad at all. Second straight day when we've seen, the gains building on to yesterday's short covering bounce.
Yeah, looks okay. The Nifty Bank too, Navneet, you are highlighting this, about 0.75% in the green. So good going there. Key would be if the mid caps and the small caps, which underperformed yesterday. Remember, the market breadth was negative yesterday. It was in favor of the declines. Let's bring up the mid caps and the small caps on the screen, and you will see that while the large caps are doing what they are doing, the broader end of the spectrum has performed a lot better than what the large caps has. And this is that recovery that was not playing out yesterday, but playing out today. Global markets are supportive. We only hope that this lasts. Let's see. Tomorrow would be a litmus test of sorts. What's moved and what hasn't. So banks, once again, actually Asian Paints featuring out there amongst the top gainers, but SBI, IndusInd, Axis, to an extent Kotak Bank. So it's been banks, privates and PSUs which have done well. The HDFC twins are not present amongst the top gainers, but maybe the market doesn't mind that. Look at the losers, and HDFC certainly out there, Bharti out there, Bajaj Auto, but not too many losers. The autos have given off a bit of sheen today, but financials still holding fort, and that is actually pretty heartening. But as we said, I think the mid cap and the small cap end of the market has done very well. The market breadth extremely positive, and only a lot of stocks moving around.
That's right, Neeraj. And let me start off with the new kid on the block, Bandhan Bank, which had a stellar listing, in fact, today, despite of a lot of brokerages maintaining that the issue was, the premium was quite high to the issue price of 375, but it did list with good amount of gains and finally closing the day around the mark of 471, 25% higher for that. From the broader markets itself, you had TGB Hotels, which surged in the last hour or just about in the second half of the session. TGB is closing the day with gains of 13%. And JSPL, that counter has bounced back since yesterday and good amount of gains seen there. In fact, that's also the top F&O gainer, 6% higher for Jindal Steel and Power. IDBI Bank, when the entire banking space was up and about yesterday, this one did not perform. And it came out of the F&O ban today, and there was a surge seen post that. So trading activity definitely heightened here. IDBI Bank up 6%. And once again, the banks did well. So you also had stocks like Indian Bank, which surged today. So 4.7% higher for that one. The NBFC space, some bit of relief after the bond yields cooled off. So stocks like Muthoot Financial, Capital First, both of them saw substantial gains. And Biocon from the Pharma Pack, this one saw actually a buying. It looked like more of cash-based buying because the volumes on the cash side for Biocon were pretty much on the higher side, and we'll be watching out for the delivery data for this counter. On the flip side, you had stocks like Jindal World, which was down. Fortis Healthcare, obviously it's been in news in the last few days, and today some announcement coming in from the company to the stock exchanges. They've confirmed they've received an offer from Manipal, and they're still evaluating. However, the stock did not recover up post that news as well, and it closed with cuts of 3%. And lastly, Canfin Homes. That stock was quite weak actually today, and it closed around the day's low mark with cuts of 3%. Well, and talking about markets, let's just pull up the heat map and see, and the contributors list as well, which is going to tell you which were the stocks which contributed today. So this is the heat map, looking good because there is more of green that we're seeing for the second straight day. The OMCs bounced back in the last few sessions. The OMCs were not doing well because of the crude oil prices moving higher, but today some bit of relief seen for stocks like IOC as well as HPCL. We're talking about NBFCs. Indiabulls Housing Finance was up and about. From the metals pack, Hindalco too did pretty well, and your heavyweights from the likes of State Bank of India, that contributed, I'm sure, in today's session. ITC managed to close the day in the green, but on the losing side, you had the Bharti Group stocks, Bharti Airtel as well as Bharti Infra and HDFC. After yesterday's surge, this one too saw a bit of profit booking. Pull up the contributors list, we'll get the exact number. State Bank of India contributing the most, L&T, Indiabulls Housing, TCS, and on the flip side, you had stocks like Bharti Airtel, HDFC, Reliance, Infi, but not too bad actually. The stocks which were in red, they didn't see any major losses coming about. Pull up the turnover list and we'll get to see how the participation panned out. Well, penultimate day to the March series, and definitely the F&O turnover picked up. 11 lakh crore is on the higher side, and on the cash side, the turnover for NSE has been picking up in the last 2 trading sessions. So that's the market picture for you. Market participation was pretty good. Second straight day of strong gains coming in for the market. Let's see where the March series expires tomorrow or not, and let's get some closing thoughts going from our technical experts. Sachtanand, I'll come to you. Tomorrow is a big day. It's a truncated week, last trading day of the week as well. March series will be expiring. Let's see, if we have a flat opening, what sort of trade would you take on the index?
Well, as I said, I would prefer going long only. In fact, the way it has held on to the 200-day moving average in the last couple of trading sessions. Only on Friday that we saw that this particular average was breached, and we saw a gap down, and it did see deeper levels. But the way it reacted yesterday and the way today's session has been shaped out, I think it is better to be on the long side of the market, or at least for tomorrow's trading session itself. So if you look at the entire closing scenario, I think we have a doji kind of a situation here, which indicates indecisiveness. So it will be very interesting to see how we are opening, whether we are opening with the global volatility, since we have been very vulnerable to that. But I think if we have a flat opening, the preference would be to go long. And if you look at the upper targets, as you have rightly said, 10,280 is something that we are eyeing on, and we are expecting that this particular move could continue on the positive side for tomorrow.
Well, looks like we're going to get some support from the global markets as well, as the European markets definitely have started the day on a very, very positive note. All the key indices there have seen gains of between 1.5% to 2%. So good going there, good rebound. FTSE 100 trading with gains of 2%. CAC and DAX also up about 1.5% to 2%. But Ashish, I'll come to you. Do you concur with what Sachtanand said for tomorrow? Would you be on the long side? And also keeping in mind that tomorrow is the day when the expiry takes place, so there could be more of volatile session.
Yes, definitely. My view would remain bullish, as I discussed earlier. My target for the Nifty would be 10,250. So if the market opens with a flat notion, then definitely I would go long. And my target would be 10,250, and I'll keep a stop loss at 10,140.
Okay, thank you very much, Ashish, as well as Sachtanand, for joining us today and giving us your technical views on the markets. Well, let's just pull up the chart of quality. My producer just highlighted in the last 5 to 10 minutes of trade, it hit the lower circuit, and I think it may have recovered from that mark, because lower circuit, I guess, is about 20% for this one. So its final rate, I think, closing with cuts of 10%. Avinash, if you track this one, does it look like a freak trade here?
It looks like, because Navneet, in the past also, these kind of freak trades have happened, and the stock has bounced back.
Yeah.
So I would believe that, I think it appears to be a freak trade, and I don't think anything fundamental has changed within the dairy business and specifically to quality. So I think, this should not actually deter medium to long-term investors. I think clearly looking at the kind of earning numbers and the kind of large exposure they have in North, I would not be surprised that this bounce could possibly be seen either tomorrow or maybe in the coming week.
All right, Avinash, thanks a lot for joining us and giving us your thoughts on the markets.